At this point, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is our organizational meeting. It's an annual requirement of the New York State Education Department. It is the meeting at which we elect officers as well as swear in our new board members. And then we proceed with various requirements of the State Education Department as annual approvals. At this point, I'll call the meeting to order. Attendance, Mr. Buno is present, Mr. Mann, Mr. Dunn, Ms. Curtin, Ms. Steinbach. Is there anybody else here? No, there is not. Mrs. Komersky is excused. Mrs. Taylor is excused. And we expect that Mrs. O'Brien will be arriving a little bit late. At this point, I would ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'll invite our board clerk, Jean Pangburn, to come forward for the administration of the oath of office, starting with myself as superintendent of schools.
Mr. Simons, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of superintendent according to the best of your ability?
I will. We now have to administer the oath of office for our newly elected board members. And so we will ask Emily Steinbach to stand and have Jean administer the oath.
Emily, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Education member according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Emily, we welcome you to their Board of Education and congratulations on being sworn in, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Item letters 3C is a required board policy, which is our school board member code of conduct. It is a policy of the Board of Education to ensure that our Board of Education understands the responsibilities as reflected in our policy. So at this point, I would ask every board member who has a copy of that to review it and to sign it, and you can turn it in to Jean Pangburn. Jean, does everybody have one of those? Is there any questions in regard to it? Be happy to answer those. Hearing no questions, we'll move to the acceptable use agreement of the Board of Education. This is a standard policy that we require anyone who is issued district technology or has access to the district's computer network to sign that they understand that the computer equipment and technology is the property of the district and it is to be used for district purposes in line with the same practices that we ask of our students and our employees. Any questions regarding the acceptable use policy? Okay, very good. Thank you. At this point, I will call for the nomination a motion for nominating our Board of Education president. Are there any nominations? Mark Mann, and,
Nominate Mike,
okay, do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Dunn. Are there any other nominations for Board of Education president? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor? Very good.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. So, Mr. Buell,
All five.
I would gladly hand the meeting back over to you. Congratulations.
Mr. Buno, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Education president according to the best of your ability?
So I'll put my nameplate back up. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it, and I look forward to serving another year as board president and serving the community. And I really appreciate your faith, and it's an honor to be part of this board and to continue this role. So thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is, well, continuing on the agenda with the board member nominations. We'll now take nominations for vice president of the board. John, yes.
Mark Mann for vice president.
Very good. Any other nominations? I need a second. Kathleen? See no nominations. We'll vote for Mr. Mann for vice president. All those in favor? All those opposed? Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Mann, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Education vice president according to the best of your ability?
I will. Six, 7, 5.
Moving on to the next board officer position. Now, this last year, Cheryl was the assistant clerk. Is there anyone else who would like to be the assistant clerk this year? If not, those who are not present may be nominated.
I'm all for that.
Okay, so do we have any nominations for assistant clerk?
I'll nominate Cheryl.
Mark nominates Cheryl. Have a second. Kathleen? All those in favor for Cheryl? All right, approved. And deputy treasurer, Emily has a chance to kind of step into a role. Not the first year, right? No problem. Need nominations for the deputy treasurer role. Was Joanne Taylor, has been in that role for many, many years.
I nominate Joanne.
Kathleen nominates Joanne. Any other nominations? You got a second already? All those in favor? 5, approved. Okay, congratulations, Joanne. We'll get her and Cheryl at the next meeting. So no more oaths of office. They're not here. The second was Mark.
Thank you.
Yep. So they're not here. So we'll get them at the next meeting, Jeannie. Okay, very good. Next, we have the appointments of the Board of Education and approvals of the district stipends. Board members do not get stipends. These are stipends for district staff that fulfill certain roles. It is in the memo there provided about the different roles and any of the stipends that may be paid as part of that role. Any questions or comments on the on those appointments? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve that. John, I need a second. Mark, all those in favor? Approved. We now have our appointment of impartial hearing officers for the Committee on Special Education. Any questions on that? I don't see any on that.
The list of names, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Per legal advice, the list of names is not included here. It is on a portal that we go in and select those
Oh, okay, so
at
it's
the time it's needed.
okay. So there's a list of folks that special
Yes,
state ed provides.
yes.
Oh, okay, all right. So they keep that secret until it's
Appointing.
interesting.
You're not appointing specific people here. You're appointing us to go on to this portal and select from that list of hearing officers.
State Education Department a few years ago no longer distributed the list because the list changes, so they keep
So
it,
Greek
they keep a
delay?
running list on the state ed portal. So you're basically authorizing the district to
district to-
appoint from that list.
So we're gonna, so the resolution should be really hereby approves the list of impartial hearing officers as provided by the SCD. Okay. All right. Any questions? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, a second. John, all those in favor? Approved. Committee on Special Education on Preschool. Any questions or comments on the committees?
Mr. Buno, the only thing I would point out
Yes.
is there's been a question asked every year if we contacted the parent members of the committee to make sure that they're aware that they're being reappointed.
Okay.
And Ms. McGrath has done that. Everyone has been contacted and is interested in continuing to serve.
Okay, very good. I accidentally logged out, so I'm just logging back in quickly. Okay, item 7, those appointments to committees on special education. No questions or comments? Need a motion to approve that? Kathleen, need a second? Mark, all those in favor? Approved. Next is our appointment of election workers for district. The district-wide budget vote happens in the spring. The list is present. Glad to see, and I thank all the volunteers who participate in that. Any questions on the appointment of election workers? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. John, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. These are the designations on the next item. We have the depository for funds, district funds, official district paper, day and time of the meetings, rate for mileage reimbursement, prices for school meals, and athletic admission rates. Any questions on those? And just that the posting of the final Board of Education schedule is on there as well, just to be aware of that, okay?
I would like to just share
Yes.
information that the price for school meals has not been increased since 2016.
16.
There is
6
a
years.
quarter price increase included in this recommendation.
Okay.
At each level, K-5 and 9-12 and 6-12.
Any other questions for those? Need a motion to approve that? Anyone? John, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Just keep those hands going. All right. Next are the authorizations. There's a list A through O of the authorizations. And there's a new one there with the fuel card, right? That's a fairly new item. Any explanation needed for that?
Certainly. Along with a couple of things that are listed here. Under the summer school instructional rates, we are requesting a $45 rate for instructional services, tutoring rates, which is part of an MOA that was approved earlier in the year, is $45, and we're just listing that on here. As far as bear with me a second, the credit cards, letter I. This year we are including on here, I'm just trying to get to it. It is called the Fleet Wex Fuel Card, and this will authorize our bus drivers when they're going out of town to take this card with them and they can fill up. Up till now, they've been putting the cash out of their pockets and then submitting for reimbursement. This will allow them to go to almost any gas station and use this card, this purchase card. This purchase card will be kept in the district safe and will be signed out just like any other the credit card or purchase cards.
Very good. Thank you, Linda. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. John, second. Emily? All those in favor? Approved. We have the readoption of the policy manual for 22-23 school year as it currently stands, and then as policies change, the policy committee will make those adjustments but we'll adopt it as a start. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, second. Mark, all those in favor? Approved. Annually, we have to do a review of the investments, purchasing, and parental involvement policies as adopted. You can see the changes there were last 2018, 2018, and 2018. So not a lot of changes there. Any questions or comments on those three policies? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Need a hand. Mark, second. John, all those in favor? Approved. The next item is the Medicaid compliance program. This is just a program. The training will be out by Molly at some point in the next few meetings, right? Any questions on the Medicaid compliance? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, second. John, all those in favor? Approved. Procedures for post-issuance compliance with federal tax law. Do we need any explanation on that? It's a mouthful.
Do you like an explanation?
Yeah, just a quick
Okay.
one.
So this is in order for us to maintain our tax exempt status. When we borrow money, we are required by law to use it within a certain amount of time. We are restricted as to the amount of interest we can earn on it, and we have filing requirements with the IRS.
Very good. Thank you, Linda. Any questions or comments on that item? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Mark, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. Interscholastic athletic rates. Any changes there, Mr. Simons?
I don't believe there are any changes to the rates.
It looks like they're all the same as last year. Very good. Any questions or comments? That's okay. Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. John, second. Emily, all those in favor? Approved. And the board committees for 22-23. I hope everyone had a chance to look at those. Emily, did you get a chance to look at those? Okay, good. I see your finance and audit. Great. Congratulations. That's a good one because it only meets a couple times a year, right? But thank you, board members, for volunteering to be part of the committees and for the 22-23 school year. Seeing no comments or questions, any motion to approve that? Anybody? Mark, second. John, all those in favor? Approved. All right. So we have a little bit of change. We do not have to adjourn the meeting according to, right, Linda, you said? And Jeannie?
That's correct.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Dano.
that concludes the organizational part of our board meeting. Pretty much standard items. And we will roll right into the regular agenda. I want to say, Emily, thank you. You brought your family here. Appreciate it. Nice.
Nice.
Great. So thanks for joining us. I always like a crowd. At least somebody comes in summer.
Don't worry, you'll see her in about a year.
Right. Congratulations. Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye. So we'll move, if you can, just move right to the regular agenda. We don't need to do the call to order attendance. We do hope Jennifer will be here at 6:30. Is there anything I'm missing yet, Linda? We're good still. Pledge we did. Student council, they're not
We
here.
can go to approval of draft minutes.
So the approval of draft minutes. I had that John and Mark were not here, so it only gives us 3 people.
Yeah, we might have. to
So let's waive that
bring
item
that
and
back.
we'll bring that back next meeting. Okay, so we'll move forward. We'll bring that onto the agenda, Jeannie, for our next meeting. Okay, thank you. So board forum, for our board forums, Emily, you sat through. Usually we go around the table and just around the room and just if anyone has any comments now before the public forum, an opportunity to that. So I will start with Mr. Dunn.
Emily, welcome. Thank you for joining the team. Roy, welcome. Thank you for joining the team. We're got an exciting year planned for both of you. So good luck,
It's any
everybody.
business. Thank you, John. Mark?
Same. Welcome, Emily, Roy. Looking forward to a very good year.
Excellent. Thank you. Kathleen?
I think they covered it.
Yep. And Emily, anything?
Thank you all for the warm welcome. Be here.
Great, me too, and kudos, and I echo everything everyone has said here. We'll move to the public forum. There's really no public except for Mr. Tucker hiding behind the computers. But waiting
You
breathlessly.
can speak public too, and then.
You can do both. Residents, students, residents, students, employees, and business representatives of the East Greenbush Central School District may address the board on matters concerning programs and/or operations of the district, other than matters involving personnel. Members of the board do not directly respond to citizen concerns during the public forum. If a response is appropriate, either the president or superintendent will contact the individual in the near future. Those persons wishing to address the board will be recognized by the chair of the meeting and should state for the record their name, address, or affiliation with the district or business. While the board does not wish to infringe upon free speech protections, it must be stressed the visitors forum is not deemed to be an open forum. The board president will conduct the forum for the orderly and efficient operation of board business. In addition, any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing or prohibited will be declared out of order. All comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board? I don't see anyone, so we'll move on. We'll now move to the reports and presentations of the superintendent. And I think this is why Mr. Tucker is here. Hey, Jennifer. Actually, let's hold on that. Do you want to get settled and we'll do the oath of office for you? Okay, well, maybe we'll do it. We'll do it at the next new business or something. How's that? Okay, let's get settled. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. We didn't elect you to any board officer positions, by the way, even though you weren't here. We're gonna. So I'll turn over to Mr. Simons.
Yes, this year, the New York State Education Department issued an advisory memo in February to school districts regarding school emergency response and safety plans. That advisory memo was related to the types of hardware that school districts can use to secure classroom doors and other doorways during a lockdown drill. We have been updating those devices over the course of the last few years through our capital projects. So that portion of the memo kind of reinforced what we were already doing. But also included in the memo were procedures that were recommended and required regarding in the event that we are, as a school district, conducting a lockdown, and if we choose to cover up windows entering and seeing into the classroom, typically those windows are on the side of the doors in the hallway. Or in the event that we want to instruct staff and students in some cases to put furniture in front of the door as an additional barrier, if those practices were to be permitted, we needed a board policy. So Mr. Tucker brought that concern to me, and we worked with Mr. Tucker and Sam Beardsley from Questar Bosse's Health and Safety and Risk Management to update our current safety committee policy to include those two provisions. So we brought it by the safety committee. The safety committee supported the recommendation. So in the event that we have a lockdown drill, or in the event that we have an actual lockdown, those two practices would be permitted. We do plan in certain drills coming next school year to practice some of that on a limited basis. So this is simply an upgrade to a policy that is complying with the state education department.
Mr. Tucker, do you have any comments at all? No? Good. Okay.
I think we did what Mr. Simon was talking about, so we can empower our staff to say, yeah, it's okay to take, these desks and these chairs, to put them in front of the door if you need to, and you can cover if you need to. That's a lot of our teachers and staff members like to be told what we need to do and given instruction. So that's how we're putting it out there. So
Okay.
with the approval of this will cascade now into the district-wide plan, which is on your agenda for tonight, and then into the building level plans, and eventually into those cards.
Okay.
Eventually. So that's kind of where it's starting tonight, and then it will go in order from there. So that's why we're trying to get it done at this meeting, so we could do work on it this summer and have it ready for September.
Okay. It's very interesting when you think about that, doing that kind of practice of.
Jeff, is this addressing, does it address, say, furniture, or does it just mention, because there are devices out there, things that we can now purchase that also
So in
can
an
do that?
earlier memo a couple of years ago, I have it down, actually my stuff's in the hallway, my floor's being done, but down there somewhere, I have all the memos. Those actual devices are not fire code compliant. So we couldn't purchase those.
But furniture,
Because that's not locking itself to the door or whatever it's
Like
supposed to do. It's
accidental
temporary, and it can be
locking.
moved by students or staff members. So they figure this would be a better alternative to, something that nobody can get in or out of the room. I know when they talked about it with one of the state ed memos, either last year or the year before, it said that the fire code trumps the safety. So the fire code is up here, right? That's
These
what it
new ones
says.
that I'm talking about, it's like a pole.
Yep.
And you can put it under the door, so it can't be open. And if you have to get out, you just either kick the pole or take the pole, no different than a table, a desk, or anything like that.
Any of those devices have to go through the state ed, fire and safety.
Right.
People.
Oh,
That's-
interesting.
There's a lack
Yeah.
of alignment between the fire code and those devices. In other words, those are currently not authorized
Based on state ed or state fire.
state ed.
The state education fire guidelines for schools. So the fire, whoever that was, there was a gentleman that worked there for years who had retired. They have new people in there, and that was their interpretation. I mean, I agree with you. Those are great items. You kick it in, moving on to then you're good. But the fire code comes first.
One thing I didn't say was that we do have the intruder locks installed in the classroom doors,
Okay,
so
good.
the staff is able to lock their doors from the inside. Right.
Good, good.
But this is an additional
On top of that.
protection that they would be authorized to do.
Thank you, Jeff.
Next, Jeff.
So that policy was for first reading. I'll bring it back for second reading. Yes. For approval. Okay. If there's any comments in the meantime, please let Jeff know on that team. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll now move to discussion items in the same line, the district-wide safety plan with the town SRO agreements. Any background?
Yes, we are required annually to reapprove the district's safety plan. We are required also to have the plan open for public comment for 30 days. So this would be a preliminary approval this evening. Mr. Adam will put out a story on the website and on social media that is available for review and public comment. There are a few, very few changes to the safety plan this year. A couple years ago, the state required that when you approve your safety plan, you have to include an addendum, an attachment to your school resource officer agreement. So we have a school resource officer agreement with the East Greenbush, Town of East Greenbush Police Department, and we have one with the Rensselaer County Sheriff Department. We anticipate that the town board will be reviewing the agreement, passing the agreement between now and the time that we have to do a final approval. We have had some discussions of the SRO program with the town. If there are any changes to the agreement that you approve this evening, I'll make you aware of those changes in the future. But this is the same format of the agreement that we've had in the past. I would ask Mr. Tooker if he wants to give us an update on the safety plan. Is there anything in particular that is changing for next year?
Just what we have to add in, if approved, that was part of that Alyssa's law, are those panic alarms that we've been talking about. We don't have any other information other than Questar has a grant or is getting a grant for them. So we're going to pay for them, but we have to figure out who's going to have them and where they're going to be located. That would have to go in the district-wide plan as well as the building level plan. So when that time comes, you're going to approve this one at your August 10th meeting, I believe. And then if we have to amend it, we can amend it later on and resubmit it. That Mrs. Wager does. It'll go right to the same website. They know it's going to be after the deadline for a resubmission. It'll be like September, October, because this is due, I think, September 30th or something like that.
Okay.
So they're aware, state ed's aware. They know the timeline does not work, but they'll let us submit it later. But that's the only change that's going to be in there. And I think that it's a good change, especially if we don't have to pay for them. Westar is paying for them. It'd be great. We'll just have to
Okay.
figure out
Yeah.
who gets them and where they're going to go and whatnot. So, but that's the only change for the 2022, 2023 year.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. And the SRO agreements are being reviewed and they'll be on another agenda, Jeff?
I'm sorry. I
The
didn't-
SRO agreements will be on another agenda.
Yes, they're attached here and they'll be, once the town approves it, we'll
Approves
be
their-
bringing it back for final
File
approval.
approval.
The sheriff's agreement is already approved because it's a
That's what you
multi-year
got.
agreement.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
multi.
the sheriff's agreement, they approved it on June 14th, I believe. So that's already got the signature on there.
Very good. Is there any conversations about expanding the SRO? I know with the county and maybe to other buildings. or-
Yes, we have initiated some conversations with both the town of East Greenbush Police Department as well as the county executive regarding SROs. And there's a meeting that is supposed to occur at some point that the county is going to schedule to talk about the possibility of expanding the SROs, but we don't have a firm date on that
Okay.
yet.
Very good. Keep us posted. Comments? Yeah, go ahead.
is, just as far as our SRO that was here at Columbia High School, Mike Kondo, retired.
Yep.
A couple weeks back. So, I just want to thank him for everything he did while he was our SRO, and
Absolutely.
everything he did for, close to 30 years
Oh, yeah.
with the town. So we moved into retirement. We'll be getting a new SRO at the high school,
Very good.
in the school year. If it's the individual that we talked about, Ed Ashley,
Yes.
good guy, really will do well up here.
Good.
And work well with the kids. So
Excellent.
shout out to Mike for, everything he did while he was here, and good luck in his retirement.
Oh, okay. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And then we'll have the same person for the middle school next year for the county?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, it's Deputy Sheriff Gravel.
excellent. Any other comments or questions on that item? No, great. Okay, we'll move to the next item. Is the board retreat date. So typically, what we try to do is get together at least over the summer to potentially set some the board's goals, what are the district goals, and some of the objectives, and make some adjustments there. Is that something the board would be open to for, I think, Jeff, August?
Either in
September?
August or early
September.
September.
September?
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's some proposed dates, maybe that you're available, and then we can get those out to all the board members. And then we can kind of see and schedule something. If summer doesn't work, definitely early in September, okay?
I will look at August and I'll send out some suggested dates for August, but I looked at September already, and I saw that September 7th, which is the first week of school, is not that is a Wednesday, but it's not a regular board meeting. So I thought that might be an option for September as one
September
possible
7th?
date, September 7th.
Keep our summer free for now. September 7th, so that's a tentative date. If people can look at their calendars, it's the Wednesday after Labor Day weekend. Yeah.
Yep. Does that
Excellent.
work?
Okay.
That way we could avoid vacation schedules too. We could try to. If everybody's okay with that, then I'll just send something out.
Jeff, is the first day of instruction the 8th or the 9th?
The 6th.
Oh,
It's the day before that. It's the Tuesday immediately following
Yeah.
Labor Day. Is it not, Mr. Stiles? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I think the teachers are coming back like
29.
29th of
in August, right? Right, it's one of those funny years, yeah, the calendar. So September 7th looks good for me. Okay. Actually, it's on my calendar. It's one of those rotating things anyway. Flash. All right. So September 7th, we'll put that in the tentative schedule. And then the last item we have is an update on the pre-K UPK for 22-23.
Yes, I'm going to ask Linda Wager to provide an update. She did attach a summary of what she's going to report. We've been moving forward with the planning for the expansion of the pre-K program for the fall, and I'll ask Linda to give an update.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. As you may remember, we had 129 pre-K applications for the 22-23 program. We held a lottery on Monday, April 11th in the Janae Auditorium. We are expanding our pre-K program this year through Questar. We will have 3 classrooms of 18 students each. The locations will be one location, one classroom at each of the locations: Red Mill Elementary, Janae Elementary, and Donald P. Sutherland Elementary. So that's a total of 54 students. We also have an opportunity to contract with the Early Childhood Education Center for an integrated UPK program. This would be a class size of 15 students. They currently have 8 students that are receiving services, and we would fill 7 more slots with our UPK students. This program would be located at the Blooming Grove location of ECAC, which is 127 Blooming Grove in the town of North Greenbush. And later on this evening, there is an addendum attached. It's 14C, which is a contract to approve moving forward with this program. So I also provided to you information as to the cost of this program as well as the funding sources of this program. So you will see that the Questar COSER is 180,604 per classroom. Three locations is a total of $541,812. The contract with Early Childhood Education Center is for $7,050.29 per student. For 7 students, that's $49,352. So the total expense is $591,164. And the way we're funding that is through New York State UPK aid, $5,400 per student for 61 total students in the programs is $329,400. And then the balance of this would be coming from the American Rescue Plan. I already have in the American Rescue Plan for the 22-23 UPK budget, $199,980. And then the balance of $61,784 would be coming from the leftover funds of the 21-22 ARP funds. So we will be able to totally cover the expense of this program through state aid and federal grant aid. Are there any questions on that? Okay, and when we get to the addendum a little bit later on, we can go through the contract with Early Childhood Education Center.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like how the programs are spread out too. The different locations now. That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
We're really spread out throughout the
Yeah,
district.
yeah, that's good.
Linda, I just wanted to ask, do we foresee this as being sustainable? I hope, like, if some of this grant money is no longer available, 23, 24, let's say, or beyond, will we still be able to offer this?
So the American Rescue Plan is good through September, currently through September of 2024. So I expect that we will continue to have the New York State UPK aid of $5,400 per student, but that leaves us about $4,600 that we need to fund through, for the Questar program, about $2,500 for the other programs. So we'll have to reevaluate this each year.
I think the biggest thing for me is getting the data from tracking those students, and it'll be kind of Roy's shop, seeing the results of kindergarten and first grade and the progression of kids, their learning, and see how
Exactly.
the impact would be on those. And really
Right.
make, using that data to say, is it a good decision to move forward beyond that year?
And we have currently 35 students this year.
Excellent. Any other questions on UPK? Thank you, Linda. Moving on to regular business, we have approval of programs for resident children with disabilities. Any questions on that? Seeing none, any motion to approve that? Kathleen, a second. Jennifer, all those in favor? Approved. Bid results on elevator maintenance. Any questions or comments for Linda on that? Seeing none, need a motion to approve. John, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. So we have a few memorandums of agreement here. Any explanation needed? EGTA healthcare coverage or buyout, I guess that's right.
Item number 9C, and I'm going to ask Linda to help me with this a little bit, is a holdover. I'll call it a holdover from the last contract negotiations
Okay.
with the EGTA, where we have in place a payment that employees receive if they do not take the district's health insurance. We implemented that in the previous contract with a phase-in schedule for those employees who were kind of caught in the middle of the contract year when the contract was settled. We all agreed when we negotiated the 2019 contract that phase-in schedule would go away. The program was very beneficial to the district and to the employees. But the EGTA had asked that chart that delineated the amount of money on the phase-in schedule that those employees would receive remain in the contract as an historical document. However, it was not labeled historical document. And so it caused some confusion when the payments were issued this year. Both the district and the Teachers Association agreed that there was no longer a phase-in, but some people got paid based on the phase-in schedule. So the MOA clears that up and authorizes the district to make the full payment.
Okay.
And after many weeks of Linda explaining this to me, I think I actually captured it. What do you think, Linda?
That was an excellent explanation. So, yes, and so this affected 23 EGTA members, and the total additional payment that we needed to make was totaled $11,200. So the difference in the individual plan was $200. There was one person that affected, and then the two-person and the family plan, the difference was $500.
Any questions on that? All right. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Need a motion to approve that. Jennifer, second. John, all those in favor? Approved. The second MOA with EGTA has to do with rates of pay with Ms. Walkley.
We have paid, go ahead.
Okay. One of our health teachers is assisting with the lesson planning and grading for another classroom that needs support currently. So this would be compensating her at a rate of $39 per hour for up to 60 hours for that time spent for that assistance.
Any questions from Marissa? It's the right thing to do. Seeing no questions.
There's a non-certified teacher in that role, and the
It's
certified
supporting.
teacher is helping with the lesson.
Yep.
planning.
Need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, I need a second. John, all those in favor? Approved. And the final MOA with the CSCA is the approval of the contract, correct? In terms of the contract? Mr. Simons or Linda?
Well, we've successfully negotiated a tentative agreement with the Civil Services Employees Association. The CSCA represents our bus drivers, our mechanics, our transportation employees, as well as our custodial maintenance employees and our food service employees. And it's been a long period of negotiation. We went to mediation, we were able to settle, and it has been overwhelmingly ratified by the membership.
Great.
Linda, I don't know if you want to summarize any of the details, but it was within the board's parameters.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Simons. One of the areas that I would like to draw attention to is on the health and dental insurance. We have agreed that as of July 1, 2023, there would be a 0.5% employee contribution increase. And then on July 1, 2024, there would be a 0.25% employee contribution increase. And most importantly, for any employee beginning July 1, 2022, they will contribute 20%. As far as the increases in the contract, we agreed to 3% the first year and then 2.75% for the remaining years of the contract. There are other things in here, such as we did increase the longevity levels a little bit. And we are also providing, with the vision insurance, we are providing an option for prescription glasses as well. And with that, we have negotiated that a CSEA will now have an evaluation tool. Each CSEA member will be evaluated each year. And just trying to look through here for a couple of other items. You know, we cleared up some items as far as uniforms go, that everyone is required to wear safety shoes and what those safety shoes are expected to be, that sort of thing. But other than that, Marissa, do you want to add anything to that? There's quite a few items in here that we agreed to, but it really came down to pay and benefits.
I think just a couple of other things of note. We made sure our custodial staff members and also our food service staff members are equipped with safety shoes. So we have language in the contract that they need to wear those safety shoes at all times. We have a number of other benefits, such as some rain jackets for our transportation staff members as well. And as Linda was saying, we did agree upon an evaluation tool for all CSEA members, and we've agreed to that form.
So you also have that recruitment incentive. How's that going? Anything yet?
So we actually received one
Good.
application from one of our mechanics, and we have interviews scheduled for tomorrow afternoon.
Nice. All right. Any questions on the MOA with the CSEA? Give you a minute. Look it over. Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. John, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. All right. Congratulations on the agreement. CSEA. That was a lot of work. Moving on to the committee reports.
Just very briefly,
Sure.
staffing update. We currently have 4 special education positions open throughout the district, 2 at the elementary level and 2 at our secondary level. We are in the middle of our recruitment and hiring efforts. Mr. Simons and I conducted our life skills final interviews this morning. And then we will be holding our elementary final interviews on Friday. The CSE chairperson position, that posting closed. There are approximately 12 applicants, and those interviews are scheduled for later this week with Ms. McGrath. We have a .2 art position at our middle school, and we have 2 vacant Spanish positions as well that we're recruiting for. We have several teaching assistant positions throughout the district. We have several clerical positions. 2 are at our transportation offices, and then the remaining are at an elementary school and Columbia High School. We are still recruiting for the account clerk typist in Linda Wager's office and the database specialist in Mr. Goodwin's office. Additionally, our posting for administrator for transportation services closed. We are going to be holding those interviews on Thursday, July 28th, and Joanne Taylor has agreed to participate on that interview panel. And we also are going to be scheduling our assistant transportation supervisor interviews directly thereafter. And we are going to be arranging those interviews later this week to be scheduled for July 28th. So all candidates will be contacted.
Great. Thank you, Marissa. Any questions from Marissa? A busy summer. Yes, definitely. All right. Next, Linda, anything?
I have none at this time.
And Roy, your initial committee reports, I think.
I was just going to share a little bit
Sure.
on our K summer school program, which started today.
Great.
I went and visited all the classrooms today. Everything was going great. The kids were very excited. Teachers were excited. So to date, right now, we had 194 students enrolled. 7 students today kind of as walk-in with families calling, saying they'd like to enroll, or a few students who actually did come this morning and were able to put in classes. There were some students that were absent today. Some of those students, they were aware that they'd be starting late, and the ones that they're not, they will be starting to make phone calls to see where they're going to be at with the program.
Thank you. Any issues with transportation?
No.
Good. All right. Usually that is iron those things out. Any questions for Roy? All right. Good to see things up and running. And then special ed summer school, I think, starts
On the 7th.
on 7th. Yeah. So another big one. Yep. Thank you, Roy. And Jeff, anything?
Nothing further.
Table motions. Let's take this time since we tabled Jennifer's oath of office. Want to do that now, Jeannie? Okay.
Ms. O'Brien, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of a Board of Education member according to the best of your ability? I do.
Congratulations. Okay. Congratulations, Jennifer.
Thanks.
We have no other table motions. Old business, board members, anything? I see, Linda, you left me the NISBA stuff. Thank you. Does everybody get a copy?
Everyone should have information on that. So the NISBA convention is October 27th through the 29th in Syracuse. If you are interested in attending, please let me know, my office know, and we will get you signed up. Wonderful.
Excellent.
You can cross me off. I'll be traipsing in North Dakota,
I'll be away. as
school
well, so
board
I can't
related.
do it.
Okay. I think a few of us will probably go. All right, sounds good. All right, so we'll get that information to you, Linda.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks. Moving on to the consent agenda, items A through G. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, need a motion to approve those items by consent. Mark, need a second? Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. So if you have the veterans here, Emily, we're going through pretty quick. So if you have any questions, just stop me, okay? I know it's
Thank you.
going fast.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
7:05 start tonight.
How can you tell?
Pittsburgh Pirates.
So we do have 3 addendums that we're asked to be put on the agenda. We have a non-instructional support member. We had that some substitute nursing and bus aides that we wanted to approve. Any questions or comments on that? No? Need a motion to approve that? John, I need a second. Jennifer, all those in favor? Approved. We have the athletic code of conduct, the draft. Any comments, Jeff, before you?
Mr. Leonard provided a memo with the changes. The changes include adding of one of our modified offerings. We've cross-country to the list. There is a slight revision to page 10, which relates to the code of conduct for student athletes that relates to an issue we've experienced where, just a language clarification that makes it clearer in terms of the rules for outside of school conduct. Also includes the superintendent in the list for the committee's recommendation. So the committee reviews the situation, makes a recommendation to me. Also of note is providing flexibility to the coaches as to when they want to have their senior nights. So the previous code read that it would be, I believe, on the last home contest, or now they have the flexibility. They can have it anytime during the schedule, which gives the coach some discretion as to getting those seniors into the game.
So I sat on the committee with Jen and with Joanne, and 3 of those items too about Mr. Simons having the ability to, on the consequences piece, the importance of including all students in terms of athletic participation at the collegiate level, community college as well. We want to invite all students to be part of that, and also really making sure that our senior nights, that we have an all-inclusive senior nights, and that the students all have an opportunity working with the coaches and the teams to be able to participate in and be part of that celebration. So those were important pieces for me to make sure that.
The sign-in day, thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Buno. Mrs. Taylor had brought forward
Yes.
and advocated that students that attend community colleges be included in the sign-in day. And we had a meeting with the coaches. The coaches supported it, and all we were looking for is some verification that they were in fact being recruited to play
Exactly.
sports. I think 6 kids did participate this year in it, and it went fine. It went very, very well. It was well received.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the athletic code of conduct?
I have a question
Yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
actual document. The content seems great. I'm just wondering the language in it. How does this letter get determined on the language between parents, that verbiage, and then son, daughter? As in, meaning, do we have any folks who are not parents who are a guardian? Or I'm just wondering if that language can be more inclusive.
I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
We can take a look at that, and we can revise that. Your point is well taken.
So we'll maybe give you an opportunity to review that for those kind of context.
Yeah. If we want to, the only timeline we have is we want to get this in place for the August season. So when the coaches, they have to meet the coaches night, that the expectations are rolled out but we can, if you want to preliminary approve it, then we can approve an addendum at the August meeting to change the language and make it more inclusive.
So we'll do a preliminary approval and then do the review as Emily and you suggested, and then we'll bring it back for those.
It's a good suggestion.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you, Emily. Yep.
Very good.
All right, so I need a motion for preliminary approval of the athletic code of conduct. Jennifer, second. Emily, all those in favor? Approved. Thank you very much. Okay. And the final addendum is the agreement with the Early Childhood Education Center, also known as ECEC, I think. We talked about that earlier in the meeting. Any questions or comments on that? This will formalize that agreement with those. Has the students lottery already been open to the group of kids? We have a wait list ready?
Not yet. Well, we have the wait list from the 129 applications.
That
We
we'll
will
choose
proceed
from?
in the same order
Okay,
and contact those next families.
okay, good.
We have also, this contract has been provided to us by our attorneys, and we have also obtained from ECEC their licensing, their fingerprint clearance, their inspection reports, and any supporting documentation that was required.
Excellent. Any questions? Seeing none, need a motion to approve the UPK agreement. John, second. Jennifer, all those in favor? Approved. Next item is new business. Anybody have any other items to bring? Yes, Mark.
I got an email, and I'm pretty sure you did too, Jeff, and I forwarded it to Mike from Sorensko. Sorensko was asking for the school district to help out with a project of redoing the entire field over on Gilligan Road. I know our kids use it, middle school kids use it. The high school likes to play over there when they do a night game. You know, majority of the kids that play on Sorensko are East Greenbush Central School District kids. And I would like to really see if we can, you know, support Sorensko and their endeavor to get that field redone over. I know they're looking to do it in August and be ready for, you know, the September timeframe. So I'd like to, you know, see if we can look into that and support them.
I scheduled a meeting with Linda and Paul Bickle tomorrow afternoon to look at what we might be able to do, and I'll keep the board advised of my recommendation. But yes, we're meeting tomorrow to review what they want to do, and I think we should support it because our spring sports, our lower level teams play on it. Our varsity field was underwater for the beginning of the season, so our varsity team does practice on that field. It's utilized by Chris Diedrich for his summer clinic, so it is a shared utilization field. And we'll just have to figure out, you know, they're basically redoing the edging of the infield and the grass and some other, and the baselines and all of that, and they were asking for us to contribute to it.
Yeah.
And there's the side slope.
Yep.
So
Come on,
from the
say.
base, there's a slope that they kind of want to level out and stuff like that. So I'd like to just see if we can do what we can to support that.
We're looking into what we can do.
Thank you.
Mike, just to
Yes, John.
add further comment, I think it's really important. This is a really good opportunity. My children benefited from Sorensko to supplement their school activities, as most of our kids do. But the real component of this, as we kind of realign and go to the future with our athletic programs, it kind of fits into what we were discussing, where we want to go in the future, and that's integrating all the sport activities within our district boundaries. So I think this is a great opportunity to kind of spearhead that and get all the different groups in alignment so that they complement and support what we're doing on the district level. So you have my full support.
Yeah, same here. One of the things too, I want to also make sure that we're looking at opportunities to support our girls' sports, especially the softball complexes, which, you know, this region produces tremendous female athletes in softball. And I think that if there's support for Sorensko, I'd like to see there's opportunity to help out with the softball complexes, because that's all our district property as well, right?
The one is.
The one is.
One of the girls'
In the
softball
back.
field is on our property.
Yes.
I think the other one's is on the town's.
Town
Yes.
property. So if we can partner with again, the town partnership, things like that, continue to invest in our facilities that help all kids, you know.
And I think we did that when we
Yeah.
Parking lot.
paved the parking lot.
Yes.
Yep.
We paired up with the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We commit to
Did a
those
joint
partnerships,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I am studying with our construction team right now in light of what we're talking about, which is athletic facilities. There may be sufficient room in the budget for our current capital project to redo the tennis courts, which has been a source of a lot of complaints.
Yeah. a long time.
It's a $900,000 proposition to do it right. But Linda and I and the construction team have been talking about developing a proposal, bringing it to the board, and then submitting it to SED as part of this current project, which is generally written enough to cover it. So we'll be bringing more information back about that. But not only do the parents of, I walked it the other day, it's quite cracked in several places. It has damage from tree roots that have grown to the point where you patch it every year, but it is really bad, and the community utilizes it as well. So it's something that we're looking at possibly trying to get done next summer, because you have a fall sports season and you have a spring season, but the only time to do it is in the summer, and it's an extensive project. So we're just to not surprise the board, we're going to be bringing a proposal on that, as well as we'll take a look at what we can do with some of our shared facilities.
Was that considered in the athletic facilities kind of study that was done a few years ago?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can dust that off and take a look
Yep.
at it again.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that were asked there.
Just
a lot of
to add
conflict.
to add, I think the idea is excellent to share the expenses with Sorensko. And if we're looking at athletic facilities, I still really am interested in the field up behind Janae. And I know we had said it was
Yes.
partially maybe a Pop Warner share or something, but if we could do anything like that, the track especially is really, really bad in terms of kids, falling. It's partially grass, it's partially paved, but
Gravel.
if there's any funding, that would be excellent.
I believe, if we haven't done it yet, I did talk to Paul about that, and Paul was going to have our landscape architect, Pal Osborne, look at that and see
Okay.
what might be done.
Great.
Some low cost options to at least resurface the track.
Yeah.
And then there's some issues with the building there too.
Yeah.
And the bleachers are in very bad shape.
Yes.
And that's on our property.
Yes, it is our property.
And
And the major is the youth football and soccer.
They use
I
it.
believe Pop Warner uses
Pop
it.
Warner,
Yeah. And I know a
Football.
lot of the teams soccer practices there. I don't know if they do games, but I believe they practice there.
We utilized it more for practice
Yeah.
this year in the spring as well, because the fields were so wet.
Yeah.
It's a big
It's up
space.
little bit higher.
Yeah, I think we just have a comprehensive plan about all these different issues. We can work on them together.
Mike, that
Plan.
kind of segues
Yes.
into what I was going to talk about, new
Sure.
business
Okay.
in regards to developing our goals for this year. And it's something for everybody to think about. When we had our conversation about the new athletic director and incorporating the athletic plan or strategy as one of our goals for the district wide, because I think we've been so focused on a lot of the academic issues and challenges that we've been facing. And I think it's one of the things through that process that I really enjoyed was the idea of developing not only a plan through K through 12 integrated athletics as the student progresses through the district, but most importantly, by doing that, you provide a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different doors will open up if we have a greater strategy in some of the more non-traditional sports that will be able to encapsulate a greater population, not just the traditional sports that as we think of them today. And the other part is by doing that and then making it a district goal, it puts it out there, it shows the community where we're trying to go, and it also will get ideas and the conversation flowing. So it kind of will segue into what we're trying to do here for the next 10, 15, 20 years for our students. And I'm really excited about having this conversation.
I think that's an excellent suggestion.
That should cover your tenure on the board.
No, I'm building for the future.
Nice. Well, I think it goes along with really the social emotional health of students, you know.
Well, that's why, we talk about these things a lot here.
That's
And
what I
it's
tell
really great to have this conversation so that, a lot of the things, especially for the newer folks on the board, we've been having these conversations, but that's the starting point because the funding and a lot of different things. But I think right now in the district, there's just a real desire to do a lot of different things for a lot of different kids. And I think the support could also be garnered from private entities. And, it doesn't have to be burdened just by the district itself. There's so many different things that we're doing, from equine to trap to archery and gym to and there's a lot of organizations out there that would really, if we can kind of line things up, would just expand for us and get some real strength in these programs so that they're part of our routine instead of just something that we offer when we have a little bit of money. I'm just looking for planning and stability. So
That sounds great.
thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other comments on that item? No? Any other new business? No. Seeing none, I'll move to the public forum. Just you, Mr. Tucker. No, you're good. We'll do our second board forum. Start with Emily. Anything, Emily? No? Now, just a reminder that the meetings don't usually go this quickly. So this is 2 meetings combined together. It's the honeymoon period. There is.
I'll take note. Thank you.
Kathleen, Jennifer.
I apologize for being late. I don't know if anyone said this at the earlier part of the meeting, but I was in attendance at both the moving up ceremony for 8th grade and then the next morning at the high school graduation. And they both were excellent ceremonies. I just have to say it was really nice to be in the audience. They had student speakers, of course, at the 8th grade. And, for over 300 kids, they kept it moving. It was, I think an hour, 15 minutes. And the high school graduation was just beautiful. And there was just so much excitement, I think, from the families. They were in, the Hudson Valley complex again. They were indoors. It was really a nice ceremony. So well done, everybody.
Thank you. Mark?
Well said.
Okay, John. So I was going to say the same thing about
Yeah.
participating in the ceremony and for Jennifer and I to see our children off. My last one go off to, getting graduated and be able to speak and hand our diplomas out to the kids was great. And just to participate in the ceremony as a large community, it was a big crowd. And I think everybody came out, and I just appreciate all the work that goes into it from the class advisors and the facilities folks and Mr. Harkin pulling the team together and all that good stuff. And it was really a very good ceremony. I enjoyed it a lot. And I think the families appreciated having the earlier ceremony too, to have the rest of the day. That was really important for us
I
to
heard
have
that
that.
from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know we usually weren't able to get that early slot. So let's make sure we reserve it.
Yeah.
So again, so thanks everyone. And it was very, very rewarding. And, I really enjoyed being part of that ceremony. So it was good. Thanks. With that, we do not need an executive session this evening, Mr. Simons. All right. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn. John, second. Mark. Oh, Kathleen. All those in favor? Here. All those in favor? Approves. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for coming on a day after the holiday. Hope everyone had a great weekend and enjoyed the Independence Day with family and friends. Have a great night.